Well, hello again, it's our first review of August, and we're gonna kick off the month with the Avengers. Wait, no, make that the action movie Avengers, as today, at the channel point's request of Yoshi, we're gonna look back at the Expendables, released in 2010. So the Expendables was written, directed by, and starred in by Sylvester Stallone. And not just Stallone, but an incredible all-star cast, one of the biggest ever assembled, including Jason Statham, Jet Li, Dolph Lundgren, Randy Couture, Terry Crews, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Mickey Rourke. Also worth noting that Dolph Lundgren, who's best known as being Ivan Drago in Rocky IV, had actually been doing straight-to-DVD films, and this was his first theatrical release film since 1995. So what's this film about? Well, it's about blowing shit up. What do you think it's about? But no, there is a plot, kinda. The Expendables are some mercenaries, and they get tasked with trying to overthrow a Latin American dictator. But they also blow a lot of shit up, so there's that too. The film got mixed reviews from critics who criticized the, lack of plot, but liked the action scenes, and also it was very successful in the box office. On a budget of around $82 million, it made back $274.5 million. This success led to 2 sequels, with another sequel, Expendables 4, due out sometime this year. But was there any more to this movie other than blowing stuff up and looking at cool actors fight each other? Well, not really, but we're gonna look at it anyway as we look back at the Expendables, released in 2010. So our film begins on the Gulf of Aden in Somalia, where some pirates have overtaken a ship. They've apparently had this ship taken over for like 3 months, and they're finally prepared 3 months later to kill a hostage before they're interrupted by the Expendables. They consist of Barney Ross, Lee Christmas, Yin Yang, Gunnar Jensen, Toll Road, and Hail Caesar. Yes, those are their names. They offer the pirates money not to kill the hostages, but the pirates want more, and then Gunnar just offs one of them, and then they all just start fighting. The Expendables obviously kill everybody, but Gunnar has gone a little bit crazy, and he's gonna hang one of the pirates. As a result of this, he's shut down by Barney and Yin, and he's discharged from the Expendables. Afterwards, Lee returns home to his girlfriend who he hasn't seen in a month, and I guess he left a little bit too long, cause she shacked up with somebody else. Barney even goes to a tattoo shop to hang out with Tool, who owns the tattoo shop and is also an ex-member, and I guess also runs their business side now, and then Lee shows up and they talk about tattoos, and this serves no purpose up until Tool gets a call about a big job. We then meet a Latin American dictator named General Garza, who seems to be in control of the island of Villena. Except it seems that he's actually being controlled by a man named James Monroe, alongside his mercenary named Payne. Meanwhile, Barney goes to meet about that big job with a man named Mr. Church, and hey look, it's Bruce Willis. Another man shows up named Trench Marcer, who is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I think the entire point of this scene was just to have these 3 actors in a scene, cause then Trench is like, oh, I don't want the job, and then just leaves. Barney, meanwhile, accepts the job. What's the job? Well, Mr. Church wants him to overthrow General Garza. There you go. Barney is then confronted by Gunnar, who wants back in the team, and Barney's like, nah, and Gunnar's like, alright, you'll regret that, and my god, this is the weirdest Rocky movie ever. Barney and Lee then fly to Villena and meet up with a contact named Sandra, who shows them to the palace. Once they're there, they're confronted by some militia, and one of the militia reveals that Sandra is actually the general's daughter. Barney and Lee then kill most of them, and they're chased back to their plane by the militia. Lee tries to get Sandra to go with them, but she's like, nah, I gotta stay here, and they escape on the plane. But then they realize, oh shit, we haven't blown anything up, so they go back and blow everything up. Later on, Monroe berates the general for letting the Americans get away, and he's like, I'm gonna kill your daughter now because she was involved, and then Gunnar shows up. It looks like he's betrayed the team, although technically not because he's not in the team anymore, but he's really betrayed their friendship because now he's being hired to kill them. The Expendables then look at some classified government documents which they somehow have access to, which reveals that Mr. Church is actually working for the CIA, which means they're working for the CIA, and also Monroe is an ex-CIA agent, which explains why he wants him dead. Meanwhile, back at home, Lee's ex-girlfriend who left him, remember her? Yeah, it turns out her new boyfriend beat her, so Lee goes to his and his friend's basketball game and just beats the shit out of all of them. Later that night, Barney and Tool have a conversation, and Tool explains why he won't go back to the team because he's not human anymore, because when they were on a job, he let some lady commit suicide by jumping off a bridge because her life didn't matter, because he had already killed so many people. Really earning that name Tool, huh? Meanwhile, Monroe and friends have captured Sandra, and then she screams at her father, and then the rattlesnake knocks her the fuck out and takes her into a basement and waterboards her. That's pretty fucked up. Meanwhile, Barney's decided that he's gonna go back to Vienna by himself and get Sandra, but Yin decides to come with him. However, they then get shot at and chased by more militia who are led by Gunner. Eventually, they all crash into a building, and Gunner engages in hand-to-hand combat with Yin. Gunner's about to kill Yin, but right before he can, Barney shoots him in the chest, seemingly killing him. They then go to the plane, and hey, the rest of the team's there, and they all fly to Vienna. They arrive outside the castle, while meanwhile inside the castle it's not all sunshine and rainbows, as the general is trying to rebel. Well, he better rebel quick, because the Expendables are planting bombs all around his building. Meanwhile, two guards have gone into Sandra's cell and they're about to rape her, but right before they can, Barney arrives and kills both of them. Barney and Sandra try to get away, but they're cut off by they're cut off by Payne, and then him and Barney start fighting while the rest of the team fight with the militia. Eventually, Hal Caesar kills the rest of the militia, and Payne gets away after kicking Barney's ass. A couple of them were able to get Sandra though, and they take her to her father as well as Monroe. The general refuses to follow Monroe anymore and decides to try to rally his troops before Monroe shoots him dead. Monroe, Payne, and Sandra escape from the building, which the Expendables then blow up. We then have a massive gunfight through the outskirts of the building, where they're trying to get the trio before they can go off in a helicopter while blowing stuff up and killing a lot of militia. Payne ends up fighting with Toll Road, which is a really cool mark-out scene, seeing one of the greatest UFC fighters and one of the greatest professional wrestlers duke it out. But just like what would happen in real life, the UFC fighter wins as he kicks Payne into some flames and he burns alive. The Expendables then blow up Monroe's helicopter, so he's got nowhere to go now, and he holds Sandra hostage as he's confronted by Barney. Monroe shoots him and is about to kill Sandra, but Barney shoots him multiple times, and then also Lee stabs him from behind with a knife. And that's it, they killed pretty much everybody, and Barney and Sandra reunite, so it's all good now. The next day, the Expendables leave, but Barney leaves Sandra his account number so that she can help rebuild Vienna, because I guess she's in charge now, because nobody else is. And then when they're back home, they hang out in Tool's tattoo shop, including Gunner, who's not dead and I guess is allowed back in the group now, even though he tried to kill them. That makes no fucking sense, but alright. And then Jason Statham throws a knife into a board and the movie ends, because why not? Okay, so I took this movie for what it was. Obviously, it wasn't supposed to have a lot of plot, and I can excuse that, because the whole point was just to be a mark-out action movie with a bunch of the top action stars ever fighting each other, and we were given that, so I can excuse the lack of plot. However, one thing I cannot excuse is the camera work. The camera work in this film was atrocious. I mean, there was random zooms and so many cuts. It's fitting that Steve Austin was in this because I felt like Kevin Dunn directed it. I mean, the camera work was atrocious and it really ruined a lot of it for me, I'm not gonna lie. Like, the fight scenes were cool, but if I can barely see them, then what the fuck, you know what I mean? But I mean, to be honest, this is basically the male version of a chick flick. Just turn your brain off and watch the explosions. That's pretty much the point of this movie. And again, it works for what it is, but I just cannot excuse that camera work. It's just so bad. Would I recommend this movie? If you want to turn your brain off and watch explosions and watch cool action stars fight each other, then yeah, sure. But actually, you know what? Do watch it and see what I mean about the camera work. Like, seriously, it's really bad. But yeah, if you want something to turn your brain off to, this is the film for you. There was a big action star who was not in this film, Jackie Chan, but he will be in the film we review next week, as next week we're going to review Police Story, which was released in 1985. That's going to close the book on the Expendables though. Thank you, Yoshi, for using your points on this, and thank you for watching. I appreciate it. That is going to do it for me today. If you want to like the video, be sure to leave it a like. If you didn't like it, don't. If you want to follow any of my social media links, they are all in the video description down below, and thank you to all my patrons for supporting me and my channels who are named in the video description as well. With all that being said though, my name is Noah Taff. This has been my Expendables look back at The Expendables, released in 2010, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.